Expose yourself to the possibilities. Explore all the ways life is lived. When you reach a dead end, you do not build a home there. You turn around and see where the road goes next. Brianna Weiss. Well, hello there, my cozy babes. Welcome back to the Cozy Babes Club. I'm your host, Chloe Taylor. And no, we do not have a video segment for the podcast this week. It is just the audio, but I felt like it was really important for me to sit down and record, A, because I really wanted to, and we'll talk about that more later in the episode, but A, because I really wanted to, and B, I wasn't going to let the gate to entry be blocked by the fact that I just didn't want to set up my video equipment. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to do it old school. We're going to bring the microphone back. We're going to sit here in our office and just do a little recording. Okay. I've got my Summer Fridays cappuccino lip balm. We're going to put her on. And I also have, of course, a Stanley full of water, because who would I be if I didn't? And I also have an iced coffee with us today because, girls, we are fully back in the swing of drinking coffee again. I know. Multiple times I have given coffee up. And I think for me, it's a true testament of my mental health is doing okay, because when I get super anxious in my head, ruminating on things a lot, I can't drink coffee because it will make me too anxious. And I feel like it's always a testament to like how good I'm feeling if I can drink coffee or not. Y'all know if I'm on a matcha kick that I have not been doing well. Even though I do like matcha, I'm a consumer of both. But anyways, we've got, what is this? I think it was a vanilla caramel coffee, and I put some white chocolate mocha creamer into it. And then I always do collagen powder, and it's actually iced today because it is hotter than a jalapeno's vagina outside right now. Okay. It is, I think, like 85 degrees today, which for some of y'all living in the desert, trust me, as a desert girly born and raised, I know that 85 degrees is not that crazy. Fahrenheit, by the way. I know that that's not that crazy, but I need y'all to know that for Washington State, that is crazy, because most of the state does not have air conditioning because the weather here is usually very temperate. And so, like, growing up in the desert, don't threaten me with a good time, 85 degrees. But, I've been living in Washington for almost 4 years now, and I have definitely acclimated. And I do have air conditioning in one room in my apartment. I have like a unit I put into my bedroom, but the rest of my house during the day is like pretty insufferable. Like, it's pretty yucky right now when it gets hot like this. So I would also say that the building I live in, it's made to maintain heat because it's made for colder months, right? We have much more colder months than hotter months here, usually. So I also feel like when it gets hot, it's very hard to cool this apartment down. So that's what's going on with all of that. I do feel like that definitely has thrown a wrench into a lot of my creative projects this summer. It's just too miserable. Like, I couldn't even fathom getting into, because I am in my office right now, but I could not fathom putting a bunch of bright camera lights on me, setting the camera up, like even just doing the setup work, I would already be sweating. So then imagine like having to put like makeup on, do your hair with hot tools, and then sit down and talk in a hot room. Like, whew, I'm just going to be real with y'all. Unless I start becoming a 5 a.m. girly, the likelihood of the podcast over the rest of the summer is probably going to be a little more sporadic. And that was not my intention this year, but I do want y'all to know, the first thing I want to say is the podcast is not going away. I know many of you have come into my Instagram DMs. You've been like, Chloe, where's the podcast? You said that unless you were like dying, you were going to be here every week. And things have happened. Okay. So nothing, good things, not bad things. Good things have happened, and it has caused me to shift all of my perspectives. So allow me to explain what has gone on, because some of y'all don't know. Some of y'all don't follow me on other social media accounts, so you have no idea. So, oh gosh, I don't even know like how to start this story, because I also feel like you almost need a synopsis of my history to understand. And some of y'all already know, but some of y'all don't know. Like, I actually just during my morning pages, because I am currently doing the Artist's Way right now. I'm doing the Artist's Way. I'm on week 2. If you follow in our Discord, we actually have a Discord chat for it if you want to do it too. We just encourage each other every day to like write our pages. We talk about our artist dates. A few of our members have some really good ideas on things you can do. So if any of y'all, like, it's free to join that. So if you're interested in anything I'm talking about, like, please go join the Discord. But during my morning pages, which is where you journal 3 pages every single day for 12 weeks, during my morning pages, I actually wrote out a little bit of a timeline, and I'm flipping through trying to find that section right now because I just feel like something that so many of you have been with me from like my gaming days, but not everybody. Some people found me literally through my podcast, which is crazy to me. That's insanity to me that people find me just through the podcast. I'm like, really? Like, I didn't realize my podcast was that popular. That's crazy when people tell me that they found me through the podcast. So like, if you're listening to this and you're so excited that the podcast is here, please drop me a line. If you like follow me on Instagram, or if you are on Spotify, you can leave comments. Unfortunately, this episode won't be on YouTube because there's no audio. I mean, I guess I could do a black screen. Maybe I'll do a black screen and I'll put it up on YouTube anyways. But like, tell me when you found me and how you found me, because that's always such a fascinating thing for me to learn. Okay, I feel like I want to talk about this timeline a little bit because this episode is for people that are creative, people that want to like put their creativity out online. If you're not that person and you just want to hear maybe a really interesting topic that you've never heard before, you want to know more about this stuff, like, I think this is a great episode to listen to. Or you just want to catch up with me and see where I've been, because we're going to cover that too. But my timeline as an online creator, I need y'all to know that I have been creating online for 15 years. Like, literally, I started in 2010. I want to say it was like March maybe of 2010. I made my first YouTube channel ever, and that was called Chloe Kitten. It does not exist anymore. There is one video, and I haven't been able to find it the last few times I've tried to look for it, because like, what even is the AI cesspool of the internet anymore? The last few times I've tried to find it, I can't find it, but there's one video out there that somebody else featured me back in 2010 on their channel. It was like somebody else in the wellness, and it was really a weight loss niche at the time. Like, we didn't have wellness the way we have it today. Somebody featured me in one of their videos, and that's like my earliest spot on the internet was in 2010. And I had a whole channel dedicated to like my weight loss journey at the time. I actually lost a significant amount of weight. I was in college, and I would vlog sometimes up to 3 days a week. I actually deleted that channel because I received some negative comments and I didn't have the backbone to handle it. So I deleted my channel over negative comments, and I have regretted that decision many, many, many times. Like, even though I probably would not have that channel public at this point, I regret it because I wish I could go back and look at those videos. I wish I could go back and witness them. Excuse me. But alas, the universe said no, and apparently past Chloe said no. So that was back in 2010. Then fast forward 2013, I launched my brand Sims 3 Copper Fox, which I don't think I've ever really talked about this anywhere, but some of y'all OGs are going to know. Not the Sims 3 Copper Fox part. Many people know that username. But the reason I named myself that is because I listened to a bunch of straight white men on YouTube that were like really at the top of the YouTube game. Okay. They were like making videos, making money, part of the partnership program, da 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 da. I am such an information person. I want to know the ins and the outs of everything before I commit to something. That's just like how I operate. Even if I want to like lose weight, I'm going to go learn everything about that method of losing weight that I want to try. Or if I want to get into a workout routine, I'm going to learn everything about that muscle group. I'm going to like, literally, I've gone to school for things like this because I am such a seeker of knowledge. So I listened to a bunch of straight white men tell me that in order to be successful on YouTube at the time, you needed to have what your channel was about in the name so people would understand what you were there for. So I called myself Sims 3 and then I put Copper Fox because I'm a redhead. It's a huge part of my identity. I always tell people I'm going to be red in the coffin. Like when I die, I'm going to be dyeing my hair the color even when it fades because it's just such a part of my identity. And I've genuinely always loved being a redhead my entire life. Like never have I felt shame about that or felt weird about that. I've always been like, nah, bitch, I'm a unicorn. I love being a redhead. Big part of my identity. And I was like, okay, like what is like a red animal? A fox is a red animal. Like I didn't even really like foxes. I was just like, that's a red animal. That will work for me. So I named myself Sims 3 Copper Fox because I was playing The Sims 3 predominantly on this YouTube channel, and Copper Fox because of my red hair. I don't know if I've ever told that story, but I started because I actually came across, I was looking for like a cheat code because I used to play the game a lot. Okay. I was also unemployed at the time, extremely depressed. I had just quit a job where I had worked in basically my first ever big girl job, quote unquote, in college was working for an alarm company. I actually took technical support calls. I was customer service and I was technical support. And I worked graveyard. And then I actually left that job because they changed my schedule and I didn't like it. They also got new management. I didn't like the new management. It's the first job I'd ever quit. And I didn't even give like 2 weeks. Okay. I'm a millennial. We don't even do that shit. I was just like, nope, I'm fucking out. Quit that job. And then I ended up working for a couple of other places in between. So this is why there's like a 3-year gap in my YouTube world. I worked for another tech support company that did stuff for like Verizon. Hated that job. Was the worst job I've ever had. Like the worst customers. I literally would hang up on customers. And I'm like good at customer service. I am. It's why I should never work in it though, because I'm too good at it. Meaning like I let people just say like the meanest shit to me. But when I would get somebody irate, it would like set me off so bad that there were times where I would just hang up on people. And I will never forget the day I quit that job because it was somebody was screaming at me, like top of their lungs, screaming at me, voice cracking, screaming at me when I had said nothing. They came onto the phone talking to me like that. I literally hit the power button at the top of my computer, powered it all the way down, took my badge off, put it on my desk, collected my things, and walked out. And then I went home and at like after hours, I sent a voicemail to my supervisor and was like, consider myself quitted. Like, I'm done. I didn't say quitted, but you know what I mean? I was like, consider myself done. I am not coming back to this job. Like, that job was insanity. And I worked for like another alarm company that went like tits up, like their company folded. But yeah, I did like a bunch of customer service jobs. And I remember I was unemployed, super depressed, not really sure where the direction of my life was going in 2013. I was getting married that year. Okay. Getting married that year, had no money. My rent was past due. Classic Chloe. Me and my boyfriend, future husband at the time, we're married now up till today, but we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. We're living together in this basement of a house in Utah. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where I wanted to work. I hated customer service, but I felt like I was really good at it and had the skill set for it. I was playing a lot of Sims, okay, The Sims 3. And I looked up online. I wanted like a cheat code for the game. And so I looked it up and I came across Life Simmer. If anybody from the gaming industry doesn't know who that is, you need to go educate yourself. Go watch some of her videos. I came across her. And I don't know what series of hers it was. Couldn't tell you. I don't remember. But I had never seen somebody play The Sims like that. I had never seen like a Let's Play before. And this was my introduction into that. And I was like, oh, people just do this like professionally. I could do this. And that's where all of like my greatest ideas have come from. Okay. I've been like, I could do that. Has Sagittarius rising over here, having the audacity. I spent probably 2 weeks putting together my channel banner, getting an avatar photo together, all this stuff. I spent literally 2 weeks like polishing my brand, learning everything about YouTube branding at the time. and teaching myself all these skills, okay? Teaching myself how to edit, teaching myself, like, I got a headset microphone. Like, I was using a Mac to make my first original videos, which for gameplay, if y'all know anything about that, is terrible. Like, don't ever use a Mac. Use a PC if you can. So I just used what I had though. And I uploaded my first video, I want to say in like July of 2013. I don't quote me on that. I want to say it was actually right around this time. Like, my channel's anniversary for that channel, I want to say is July 14th. So like right around this time in 2013. So over 10 years ago. And my first several videos, I don't even know what hit and what didn't. Like, I don't remember what my first official video was. If it was the Opposite Princess Challenge, I struck gold the first time I tried. Like, I honestly would have to go look back in the archives of that channel, but almost instantaneously, like, I never uploaded something and then never had comments. I never uploaded something and didn't have subscribers. Like, I have never dealt with that in my life. I have always had somebody seeing something. And I don't know if that's because I have Jupiter in Leo, so I am naturally, I am very lucky in having people pay attention to me that way. I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe I just have magnetism. Maybe I'm just good at speaking from authority. I think at that time, I couldn't tell you, because I look back at those videos and I'm like, damn, Chloe, what were you doing? Why was anybody watching this? But that was my like start. And then I did, oh, my cat is here and wants to say hello. If you hear him, he's a Gemini. He's very chatty. But I did that until 2015, I rebranded. So from 2013 to 2015, I was Sims3 Copper Fox. And in 2015, I rebranded to Coffee, which was something that it was the weirdest thing. I'm such an intuitive person. I've always been somebody that will follow my intuition on things. And I remember I was watching Pretty Little Liars. Okay. I was watching Pretty Little Liars at the time. Couldn't tell you what season, whatever season was going on in 2015. And I kept praying and I kept praying. I was very like, I wouldn't say I was religious at the time, but I've always been an intuitive person, whether it has been under the guise of some form of Mormonism or not. I've always been a very like, there's been very few times in my life where I have not prayed. And usually it's been because I've been mad. But I remember praying a lot at this time because I felt like my content creation journey had stagnated. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I just feel like I need to rebrand. I need to change something. And I'll never forget, I was watching Pretty Little Liars and the credits at the end of the show. There's somebody in the credits that their last name is Coffee, but it's spelled with a K and I think there's a Y in there. And it just jumped off the screen at me. I don't know how else to explain it. It was a moment of divine intervention. It jumped off the screen at me and I was like, Coffee. That's it. Like, that's it. Coffee with a K, because my name is Chloe with a K. Coffee with a K. Like, that's it. That is going to be like, I love coffee. I'm always talking about in my videos how I don't record until I have a cup of coffee next to me. Like, the world is obsessed with coffee. This is perfect. This is stellar branding. So I do it that day. I asked a few of my friends at the time that were in the industry. I was like, what do you think of this rebrand? What do you think of this rebrand? Let me just tell you, and this is no shade on anybody in my life. I mentioned it to my closest friend. I mentioned it to my husband. I mentioned it to some people in the industry. Every single person told me not to do it. Every single person told me that that was risky. And I was like, no, like, I cannot avoid my intuition like that. I cannot avoid that. I had this like massive realization come to me. No, I'm doing it anyway. And I'm not listening to anyone. And I had my biggest break in my career at that time. Like, right after I did that rebranding, it might have taken a little bit of time to gain traction, but I like really blew up at that time. I had my first video hit over 1 million views. I went on to have a multiple successful series on my channel. I got invited by Electronic Arts, the creators of the Sims games. Okay. I got invited to go to Redwood Shores for Sims Camp on company dime. And then a couple of years later, I also got invited to go to London for Sims Camp once again on company dime by Electronic Arts. So like I also got flown around the world by the creator of the game, by like the company that owns that game. So like I would tell you that I was at the top of my career. Like my YouTube channel hit over 100,000 followers. Like I was making gaming content, I was streaming on Twitch. I also had started a podcast somewhere in there called The Coffee Pod. That podcast flopped extremely early on in its production. I look back now on that time and I hate to say it, but it is how I feel. And I've not really talked about it a lot. There were a lot of people around me at that time that were using me for clout. Like, there were so many people around me that I don't think actually liked me. There was one person in particular that when I see them, they make me ill. Like, there's one person in particular that I don't fuck with them. Like there is, and they probably know who they are. Actually, there's two people that probably think it's them. One person probably doesn't listen to my podcast. The other person might, which the person that might, it's not them. It's not that person. The person that I think would stalk my content, it's not them. It's the other person. And we probably all have a common enemy. Like I think about all the friends that I had at that time and all of us don't like that person. But it just like, even the people I'm not friends with anymore don't like that person. Totally used me for clout, was such a narcissist. And I see that now. At the time, I very much fed into his energy and loved what he was about, really like, and he's such slime. Like it drives me nuts now because like he does still make content and I'm just like, gosh, if only people knew the kind of slime that you are. Like if only people knew how you use people, you actually have no intention of creating real community and you are all in it for yourself. It's just so gross, so self-absorbed, that one. Honestly, hope he heals. But there were just so many people around me at that time. I had some genuine friends, of course, that some of them I'm still friends with today. But there were multiple people that just wanted to be around me for clout, that like used me to advance their own careers by, and that's like how networking works, unfortunately. That's how networking works. Like you are kind of meant to network with other people in your niche and like help each other rise. Like I can get behind that. It's the problem with it was that I think at that time in my career, I just wanted friends. I just wanted friends. I wanted to really be close to other creators because I just wanted genuine connection. And unfortunately, something that I came to realize in that career is most people were not in it for the same reason. And that's actually what kind of ended my gaming career. Like it was a lack of my audience continuing to show up because I think a lot of people grew up and weren't really watching Sims content anymore. I don't think I evolved with my audience, and nor do I think that I was gaining new people at the same rate. And everything just kind of went downhill. Like I was used to getting like 20,000 views a video or more. It dropped down to like 2,000 views. And that's fine. I'm not trying to dog like, 2,000 people in a room is still a lot of people. But when you are using your creative career to pay your bills, it becomes a bigger problem. So anyways, that was a wild time in my career. Okay. I had a really, really, really high highs and extremely low lows. And it's crazy to me that when I look back at that now, like I don't even own a gaming PC anymore. Like I gave my gaming PC to my husband. I have a Mac, an iMac now, and a MacBook and like an iPad. Like I do everything on Mac. I don't do any gaming that I do is on my own console. Like I play PlayStation 5 and Switch. So I still game, but like not professionally. I don't even keep a PC anymore. But anyways, that basically when I started to notice things kind of like going downhill, so to speak, was probably around 2017. Now, in 2017, my sister passed away. And I've talked about this numerous times. She passed away from a heroin overdose. She was someone that struggled with addiction probably since she was like 15 or 16 years old, which knowing her history, which I'm not going to air online, like it totally makes sense. I see why she would turn to those things as coping mechanisms coming from the family that we both came from. And this was a huge turning point in my career though, because when she died, it really put a lot of life into perspective for me. And I remember having the thought, if I were going to die tomorrow, like this was a tragedy, right? My sister was 30. And I've got to tell you, I'm never going to forgive her for making me do my 30s without her. Like, I can forgive her for a lot, but not that. I say that jokingly because I really do believe that my sister is one of my spirit guides and that she listens to me all the time. So, like, girlfriend, I'm never forgiving you for that. But like, love you, girl. Anyways, um, when she passed away, it just put a lot into perspective for me. And I started asking myself that question of like, if I died tomorrow, what would I want to be known for? Is it doing this gaming stuff? And the answer was no. The answer was overtly no. And I couldn't unsee that. I was just like, wow, like if that's how I feel, like I got to be doing something else. And introducing 2017 Coffee Fit. Okay. We tried to go back to our roots. We tried to make a channel dedicated to my weight loss journey once again. And it was a side piece. Okay. Like I still was doing gaming content. I was still streaming on Twitch. But I had Coffee Fit on the side that I was trying to upload every week to. And this lasted for a year. Okay. I was still making gaming content. Coffee Fit never really took off. In 2018, I rebranded Coffee Fit into Cozy Kale because I had become vegan at the time. I was vegan devout, like strict devout vegan for 6 years. I went vegan after getting my gallbladder removed. I had gone through a lot of health trauma, and it was actually I would say an ex-friend from the gaming industry that showed me a documentary that I couldn't unsee. I was like, how can I continue to eat meat if I know all of this? And I went devout meat vegan overnight for 6 years. I quit eating meat. My husband did it alongside me. So that definitely made the transition easier, that both of us were like, nope, fuck all of that. We're going to do this. And from that, I was like, I want to make vegan content. So if you look at Chloe Taylor on my channel, a lot of these videos are still public. And on YouTube, if you go back in the archives, you will find vegan content. You will find videos where I cooked, where I showed cooking. And the thing was, I always wanted to infuse spirituality into everything I did. So I was still doing gaming content, but I was also doing Cozy Kale content at the same time. And I was trying to bridge this gap in myself where I just wanted to do spirituality content so bad. Like I started making Sims content, doing a zodiac challenge. And I will say this with my whole fucking chest, I was so ahead of the curve on this one, and bitches fumbled me. Okay. I was so ahead of the curve. I was the first person that I noticed doing a zodiac based challenge. Now everybody's doing them. Like I was the first person to come out the woodwork with that. And I designed my own challenge. I didn't go off of anybody else's that had been designed. If you don't know anything about The Sims and gaming, I might be speaking gibberish to you right now. But I had a series that was dedicated to astrology where I would make these Sims. They would birth like the next generation. The next generation would be the next zodiac sign. And every time I would go and give these characters makeovers, I would talk about that astrological sign as a baby, as a toddler, as a grown-up, like what the different attributes and characteristics were of each zodiac sign. And then I would also play the game in between those episodes and like further the progress of birthing the next generation. And people love this series. Okay. I think the first episode got like 100,000 views, which is honestly pretty good, I feel like, in the space of YouTube. But it didn't get that many views right away. It was the creeper video, because by the time I was already out of doing this stuff, I felt like that video had not hit that level of popularity yet. Like and again, remember that I use this money to pay my bills. So like when things are not popping off, it was really hard to stay dedicated to it because I'm struggling, right? Like the rain is falling. I need to keep the roof over my head. So that, I think, is probably my biggest struggle with content creation, is if you are somebody that is doing it as your only job, it kind of robs you of a lot of your creative freedom if you don't have something to hold you steady underneath that. And that's something that I think there was somebody who made a video recently that I saw that was talking about like the classist system of YouTubers, where basically like you have the people that are like at the lowest level of like the poor people on YouTube that are like, they're not poor, but in like subscribers, in visibility, in like actually being able to use that money to fund a career, like poor. That's what I mean. And then there's like the middle class, which like you get some money, you might be breaking even. And then you have people that are just like massive that like make insane amounts of money. I don't think I've ever been on that trend. I've never been on that upward part, but I feel like I really fall into like the lower middle end. And again, this isn't about like numbers and people. I can respect that if I was in a room with even 300 people, that would be insane. I don't forget that. I don't lose that. But I also know that like when you're trying to grow your business and actually make it something that can sustain you, you do require more than that. It's unfortunate, but it is the truth. And anyways, where was I on this journey? Okay, Cozy Kale. So I'm making both, right? I'm making this astrology content on my gaming channel, and on Cozy Kale, I start introducing witchcraft because in 2017, 2018, I go through like this whole spiritual evolution personally where I'm really into witchcraft. I've completely changed my like internal identity around that, right? Like I was devout Mormon for many years. Actually, by that time, I hadn't been Mormon for many years, but I felt like I needed spirituality. To get through my sister's death, I needed something. I couldn't just have nothing. And before that, I was just coasting on like being agnostic. I was like, cool. I randomly came across witchcraft by going to Barnes and Noble by myself. I took a little day trip by myself to get out of my head because I was feeling anxious. And the book, it didn't fall off the shelf at me, but I was in the self-transformation area and I noticed it. And I was like, huh, you know what? Growing up religious, I was always taught that this stuff was so bad and wrong, but how could it be so bad and wrong? And I can find a book about it in Barnes and Noble. If it was so bad and so wrong, somebody would have obliterated this. We wouldn't have access to it. So I'm just going to open this. And from the first page, this book was so captivating that I bought it. I spent my last $20 on that book and bought it, left. I think I read the book in a handful of days and was like, oh, I'm a witch. Like there was no denying it because it was so, the book just changed my perspective overnight on like witchcraft was never bad. It was never the problem. It's the people that burned the witches that were the problem. And I would encourage you, if you're somebody that feels like squishy or weird about witchcraft, to actually learn something about it. Like learn something about it and challenge yourself to just understand, not to become a witch if that freaks you out, but just to try to understand the basic principle of why anybody would believe it. And I think this is a good thing to do with anything, even with like political stances, religion, anything that is cultural things. Like if there's ever something that we feel hatred towards, fear of, take the fear out of it, take the hatred out of it, and come to a place of, you know what, I just want to be curious enough to understand. That was my introduction to witchcraft. And I was like, oh, this is like undeniable. What have I like, I can't believe I lived my whole life in fear of this and in like a weird place of like feeling like it was bad when like, this is what it is. Really? I couldn't believe it. Anyways, this was kind of how I started like trying to bridge the gap in my spirituality, as I had like spiritual content coming up on both sides. I started making like, I made a couple cooking videos on Cozy Kale that were like magical cooking. I used to do this series called Magical Monday where I would teach witchcraft. I used to stream on my Twitch channel once per month. I would do manifestation practices and witchcraft practices. I would teach the chakra system. There was a time period where I also did like tarot teaching. I would teach tarot on my Twitch channel. I actually was really like, I look back on that time and I'm like, damn girl, you really had some gumption. You really had some audacity. You were on some different wave. Like I was into some shit before it became super popular. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm a hipster. I was so cool. But like, it was scary. It was scary to go from having a devout following in gaming where I was known for very specific things to I'm going to throw all caution to the wind and trust my creativity. And I'm just going to go and do this thing. And this actually led me into, so Cozy Kale, basically from 2018 to 2019, that was Cozy Kale's era. Then I rebranded Cozy Kale to Chloe Taylor. And that's where we are today. So in 2019, that was the first time I popped out the woodwork as Chloe Taylor. I want to say by this time, I might have been making gaming content, but it was very minimal. I wasn't doing the Zodiac challenge anymore. I'd gotten tired of it because I felt like nobody was watching it. And even though so many people were like, "Are you going to continue the series?" I was like, "No, I'm not going to continue the series because I'm broke as a joke. And unfortunately, I have to move on." That is like, I think every creative's ultimate dream is to just be able to have enough to be stabilized so they can create whatever they want. Like, that is my ultimate dream. I just want to be stabilized enough that I am able to, like, honestly, I would like to own a home. That is a big deal to me. And not just like a starter home. I would like to own like my dream home, own my own car, have 2 cars in my family, have my own, and like be comfortable enough that I can create at my own pace and create what I want no matter how many people see it. That is like, I think every creative's like wet dream is just to be able to create and be sustained. Which I feel like that is something that all of us have the potential to have. It's trusting your creativity that is the hard part. It's trusting that there is something that helps to guide that creativity. And if you trust it, like, it will work out. And it's hard to hold that. It's hard to sit in that unknown. And I will actually argue, this is such a random side tangent. I would argue that for myself, from my own perspective, right? We don't have to gender this, but I do think as a woman, as somebody that has a womb, I don't even think that makes me a woman. I would just say, as somebody that has a womb, let's put it that way. Somebody that has a womb, I feel like I'm already connected to the void. Like, I'm already connected to the energy of potential and what is possible and holding the impossible. Because when I'm not creating children in there, like, which is not my divine purpose, I don't have to do that if I don't ever want to do that. But as somebody that like, I basically carry the void inside me. Like, and I'm not saying that like, because my womb is here and doesn't have a child in it, that makes it the like dark pit of a black despair hole. Because I don't think that anybody that has a womb has to bear children if they don't want to. My point is that we're already so, like, my body already biologically is familiar with the unknown and carries the medicine of that. And I hope this is landing. I hope this is making sense. I'm not trying to be, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm not trying to be gross. I'm not trying to be gross. I'm not trying to like gender anything. I'm not trying to say that like, because I'm a woman, I'm suddenly more powerful. Like, no. I'm just saying that I do think that many of us with wombs have been taught not to pay attention to that, to avoid that, to feel the fear of the uncertainty. When I feel like, girl, I literally have a portal between my legs that brings life into this world if I wanted it to. And I'm going to sit here and tell myself that I'm scared of the unknown. Like, no, I'm working on it. Okay. My relationship with fearing the unknown is something that I am having to work through. And I honestly think I am having such an epiphany right now while I'm talking about this, that I honestly think the more that I trust that and open up to that, the more it like heals me. And I feel like I am put in positions sometimes where I am having to deal with the uncomfortability of the unknown and learning to be comfortable with it so that I can actually like use my creativity in the same way, because that creativity, like, girl, she is divine. Anyways, I don't know why I just got off on that side tangent. My point is that in 2019, I rebranded to Chloe Taylor though. Okay. I rebranded to Chloe Taylor because I just wanted it to be my name. And when I went through this rebrand process, that was when I already had my podcast, I want to say, because like I started my own podcast way before that. Like I had Cozy Cast at one time, which also was such a mood. I had Divine Authenticity, and now we are on to the Cozy Babes Club. I don't even know if we're going to keep this name as the podcast name, to be honest with you. It doesn't feel right. Like, it feels good for like marketing purposes. I think it was a marketing genius move and I could do a lot with it, but I just don't know that it encapsulates what I want it to encapsulate. And I don't know yet. We'll talk about more about that in the future. But going through all of this like rebranding, the reason I wanted to talk about this history is that, you know, that's 15 years of my life. That's 15 years of my life online where I have climbed a mountain, doubted myself, come down the mountain, turned to a different mountain, climbed another one. And I think what a lot of people would think is very erratic behavior or very feral behavior, it is actually so normal. And that's something that I'm coming to understand in my own life right now as I'm kind of going through it again right now, where the mountain that I climbed and I saw the peak of, I think was a really good time. I am so grateful for that mountain. I'm so grateful for what it taught me doing the climb and doing the exit. But I think I'm ready to climb another mountain. And I'm ready to kind of like turn away from the one that I was on and climb a different one. And the reason that I feel like this is happening is, first of all, I need y'all to know that I've talked about this a lot, but Chloe Taylor, I'm not leaving that. Like, branding staying the same. I potentially may rebrand the podcast in the future. I'm undecided on that. I haven't really sat down and given myself the time to really peel the layers back on that. But I had something kind of crazy happen this last week, or it's been like maybe a week and a half. I randomly just, I don't even know where to start this story because it's annoying on one hand because I feel like I've been having the intuitive pull since like 2020 and I've avoided it. I've been like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've held myself back and avoided myself and decided not to do it or not to try. But I want to say it was, gosh, I don't even know what day that happened. It was just, did I put it in I have a note that I keep in my phone that's just for my accomplishments for the year, because I think sometimes we get to the end of the year and we feel like we didn't accomplish our big goals, but we miss all of the other ones. And I want to say I did. So this actually happened on July 4th. So funny. July is usually always a crazy month for me every year in my career. July 4th, this happened. I posted, I was just like laying in bed, and I've been for the past like, I don't know how many weeks it's been. I've just kind of been like, I don't really feel like my tarot videos are going anywhere. I don't really feel like I'm hitting the traction that I used to hit. And it is causing me to like doubt myself. It is causing me to feel like, why am I even doing this in the first place? Like, do I actually like doing this? Or am I doing this because it's what I know? Am I doing this because I'm good at it? Am I doing this because I actually love it? There are times where I read tarot and I do love it. There are like, recently I had a resurgence where I was like, damn, I really want to read cards. And so I did. And then I think I kind of burnt myself out again because I think I did too much. And I was like, like I really want to be here because I love this, because I come from a place of conviction, and something that it's hard for me to talk about this because I think I feel shame about it for whatever reason, but I know somebody out there is probably going to need to hear it. Sometimes in the creative work that you do, no matter what it is, if you're podcasting, if you're writing a book, if you're making tarot videos, if you're making astrology videos, if you're making a recipe book, if you're making content on Instagram and TikTok, whatever it is, okay, whatever your crew, if you're making little pottery pieces, sometimes something goes really well, okay? And this in its own way can be its own curse, not a literal curse, but like metaphorically a curse. It can be its own curse because you get some kind of attention and the little squirrels in your brain go, oh my God, that's the thing. That's what we need to do. We got to go keep hitting the lever again and again and again and again to keep getting the juice, to keep getting whatever it is that you're receiving. Validation, sales, compliments, whatever it is that you're getting. Okay. It starts to become the driving force. And you'll lose your creativity in that. You'll lose your ability to intuit what you should be doing next. I have fallen prey to this numerous times in my career. And for the first time in my career, I don't feel small. I don't feel small. I don't feel like I need validation to be okay. I don't feel like I need someone to pat me on the back. I don't feel like I need hundreds of thousands of people to tell me like, oh, this is good, and now suddenly I can believe that it's good. I think for the first time in 15 years, after this past week, I actually feel so It feels normal. Okay, so let me tell you what happened, because if you're not clued in, you don't know. Which I recognize not everybody does. Not everybody listens to everything that I do. But on July 4th, I opened my phone on a whim. This was like the most random ass shit, okay? I was truly following my intuition, and I just told myself, like, you know what? I'm just going to try. I just want to see what can happen. That was my mantra. I just want to see what can happen. I opened TikTok, which I never use because me and TikTok have a weird relationship. And I will openly admit that on TikTok, I didn't use it for a long, long time. One, because I do think it's a propaganda machine and I don't like that. I've seen literally the day that we got the app back after it was closed, everybody saw that propaganda, right? Everybody saw the propaganda, right? I don't even need to say it. If you were on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody saw that propaganda. Um, so I've always had kind of a weird relationship with it anyways, but I also feel like I was afraid to pivot. And that's, I think, for any artist, for any person that is creative, pivoting is scary. It is scary to try a new medium that you've never tried before. And I'm, from the 2010s girl boss era. Okay. I loved my little pictures on Instagram. This whole short form game was something I did not want to be a part of because I like my polished long form content. And I found that repurposing that stuff hasn't really fared well for me, and people connect more with authenticity. And anyways, on a whim, I was like, you know what? I just want to see what can happen. I opened my phone. I put a little filter on because, girl, the one thing you're not going to catch a Virgo midheaven doing is showing up to the job looking like a mess. They're always going to look polished and hot. I don't care what you say. Like, I will either look dressed up to the nines because I dressed myself up, or I'm going to use a filter. Like, ain't no Virgo midheaven going to show up sloppy. So I opened my front facing camera, which is something I also don't usually do. Normally I would try to use the back or try to use a nicer camera, use the front facing camera. And I, from a place of authority, of knowing, because I know astrology, because I'm good at it, I start talking about, I made like I did it in one take. Literally, I did it in one, like there might be breaks, but it's because I like broke in speaking, but I did it in one take. There was no editing of this. And I literally, it's like a 45-second clip. I'm talking about how Uranus is leaving the sign of Taurus. And this video gets 2.5 million views on TikTok. Okay. Then I turn around and I upload it on Instagram. It gets 1.4 million views on Instagram. Then I put it up on YouTube. I want to say it got 5,000 views. Like, this was a very big learning experience for me because many of y'all know, or maybe you don't know, if you just listen to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, that with my podcast, or excuse me, with my business, YouTube is my bread and butter. I have treated YouTube for 15 years like it was the most important platform. And I think that was my downfall. Like, I have come to understand that maybe I've been playing the game wrong, and the game of life. Maybe I've been playing the game of life wrong, and I've tried it again. I have other videos that have popped off on Instagram and TikTok. I'm talking like 600,000 views a video. And then I go and I put it on YouTube Shorts, 1,000 views. Like, I feel like I don't know what is going on there, but I have been killing myself. I don't say that lightly. Trying to figure out why my content is not being pushed on YouTube. Why I feel like I went from being at the top of my game all the way down to the bottom. Why? And this has happened multiple times in my career now. So like, I know that it happens. I know that virality doesn't typically last, at least not on that platform. And I notice it in other tarot niches too. Like, there are very few people on YouTube that read tarot that every video they put out gets like 100K views. Very few people. Lots of people have a moment where they burst and then they'll go back down to getting like under 20,000 views. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody who gets less than that. Again, I understand that sitting in a stadium with 20,000 people would be insanity. But when you are trying to make a living and keep a roof over your head and keep food on your table, you do unfortunately have to think about the logistics of those numbers. Like, and it's hard. It's tough. It's tough to put your creativity out there and then have to remember that. It's hard to like keep a good, clear head about it. And I will not lie to you. I think I struggle with that at times. I'm not quiet about that. I think it's something that is hard. It's probably the hardest part of creating content for the public. And having this happen, though, it completely obliterated my belief of like, oh, I need to keep making content this way. I can only do it here. I'm not going to grow otherwise. No, actually, my job could be significantly easier. I make my job harder. And since that happened, I've posted not every day, but almost every day. And I've just been talking about astrology, just whatever is coming up for me. Y'all, the queen herself, not Queen Elizabeth, rest in peace, rest in pieces, but the Queen Herbie, the song artist, the musical artist, followed me on Instagram. I lost my fucking mind. Y'all know how much I love her. If you didn't know, now you do. But like, I guarantee you I've mentioned her music before. Her music is some of the few, like, I listen to that when I want to be like in my creative energy. Um, Also, Christina Hendricks of Mad Men. That's where I know her from. My woman crush Wednesday. Okay. My woman crush Wednesday. When I tell you Christina Hendricks, okay, I hope she never listens to this. Christina Hendricks, if you're ever listening to this, click away. Don't listen to me. Um, I used to put her photos on my school binders when I was in school. I think it might have been college, but like I used to put her photos on my binder because I was just like, this woman is a redhead and she's so hot. And like, I love this. I love this representation, especially because I am a big chested, redheaded girly myself. Seeing somebody else in the public that carried that with such charisma, like I could cry talking about that. She is somebody that like, I felt like I could always be like, you know what? This is somebody that does that. And I love it. Like, and she is so like, I don't know her personally. Maybe she does have like a persona that she gives to the public, but like just somebody with a similar body shape, like that meant the world to me. Like this woman has no idea how much she has like influenced my own confidence for many, 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 many years because of just being herself. And just like being a public figure and existing. Yeah, she followed me and she's like liked some of my content since then. She's a Taurus, so it makes sense because a lot of my content is focused around Tauruses. But like I've had so many different celebrity accounts like my videos. Not everybody has followed, but like I feel like for the first time in my career ever, I am receiving my flowers, like good things. And y'all have heard me talk about this, like how every time this has happened for me in the past, I was too like mentally unwell. I couldn't handle it. I had imposter syndrome. No, for the first time in my career, I don't have imposter syndrome. I feel like I deserve it. And I feel very like calm about the entire experience, which I think speaks volumes. Like I don't understand why we have this weird thing in society where it's like, oh, they're cocky, they're overly confident, they're conceited. Like, girl, wouldn't you want somebody who's confident in their craft to do it? Like, hello? Anyways, no, I feel very confident. I also feel like I'm really in my content creation villain arc right now. As in the past, if somebody would say something rude or curt to me, I would sit back and just kind of take it, or I would delete their comment, or I would mute them from my profile, or I would block them. And I'm really at a point in my career right now where I'm in my clapback era. I'm in my I'll see you in hell era. I'm in my you'll make an ass of yourself on my page and I'll let everybody look era. Um I don't know where all this confidence and all of this backbone came from. I think it came from 15 years of putting myself out there and exposing myself to a lot and just doing it anyway, doing it scared, doing it anxious, doing it afraid. But I really feel like I'm in my villain arc right now. Like last night, oh my gosh, there was somebody that commented on my video. This is such bullshit. Like trying to say like the content wasn't like valid because astrology. And I said, "What do you mean?" question mark. And then they were like, "Oh, you know, just how you made it. 45 seconds and then you only name one sign. Literally anybody who lives in the USA right now has had a terrible last 6 years." And their name was like something Dave. And I said, "David, dot dot dot. Let me get this straight. Dot dot dot. You're upsetty because I made a good reel and I didn't mention your sign?" Like, that's what I mean. Like, that to me is such villain arc energy. It's like, did I stutter? Like, I just, I'm not here to play with people. If somebody is rude and curt to me, I'm going to tell them to sit down. Like, and I just feel like a past version of me felt like, oh no, like I just want to be kind to people. I just want to be gentle with people. I just want to be a light for people. No, I will love and light your fucking house on fire. Like, just because I'm love and light doesn't mean I won't love and light your house on fire. I just, I feel like that is something that you have to go through in your own spiritual evolution too, though. That, like, it's not to say that, like, love and kindness are weaknesses because they aren't. I think we need those wholeheartedly. But I think you're kidding yourself if you think that you're going to be in your love and light 24/7. I think sometimes giving yourself love is clapping back. Giving yourself love is not letting people just say what they want to you. Because what happens, and I'll speak for myself here, is whenever I do that, I swallow a rock. Like, anytime I notice somebody being shitty towards me online, I have to swallow something. Like, there is this like anger that comes up. There is this, how dare you? And I've gotten really good at just swallowing that. And I think a lot of women in particular do this because we're trained that we're not allowed to have rage or anger, that it's unbecoming for a woman, or that we're not allowed, or we've been oppressed. Our anger has been oppressed for, multiple generations, whether it's been by force or otherwise. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm not out here being feral, like, even if I was, whatever, but I'm not out here being feral, just giving unbridled anger and rage to everyone. But I'm just kind of in a place where I'm not scared to stand on my own 2 feet. I'm not scared. Like, I know what I bring to the table and I am not afraid to eat by myself. And I think that's a very, like, powerful place to live. And I feel like I have kind of fought for like 15 years to be here. Like, again, me in 2013 or in 2010, I deleted my whole YouTube channel over a negative comment instead of telling that person where they could stick it. Like, and now I'm out here being like, "David, you said what to me?" Like, hello. And not even in like I think there's something so beautiful about like quiet power where you stand fully in your power and it's calm. That to me is true power, when you're not riddled with anger and you're not like shaking and pissed off and ready to scream. When you actually stand up and you're so calm, like, that to me is the true power. Power steps up. So, anyways, it has been a crazy week and a half. Prior to this happening, I hadn't uploaded the podcast because I was just feeling kind of burnt out. Not on the podcast, but on YouTube content. I was just like, like, I'm just feeling really burnt out and I don't want to force myself to make something when I don't feel called to make it. I don't want to make something when I don't feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to make content when it doesn't serve anyone. Like, even this video is definitely very self-indulgent, or this video, it will be a video, I've decided. But even this episode, it feels very self-indulgent. I'm just sitting down and like recounting my own history, but I feel like it was necessary. And somebody out there that creates, that has gone through multiple evolutions of their own creativity, needs to hear this. And I know that this story is important for someone. Might be for a very small number of you, but like, I hope, if anything, me talking about this gives you the confidence to know that it doesn't have to be the way you've been doing it. You can let things be easier. And that's been like my biggest thing. Not only have I been praying a lot, I'm heavy on prayer. Okay. I've been praying. Actually, that's something else I wanted to tell y'all. Let me take a sip of this coffee. Hold on. I hope you don't mind if I'm doing that, but because I'm definitely not going to edit this. But that's something else that I wanted to mention, that I think what started this whole thing was also really crazy, in that I found this girl on Instagram, and then I actually downloaded TikTok. Oh my gosh, that's why it happened. Girl, the universe is crazy. Okay, follow your intuition is all I'm saying. I was on Instagram and I came across this girl. She goes by Claudia Ravioli. I love her. If like, oh my God, follow her. She's so funny. But um she put out like some Instagrams talking about how she used to feel some type of way in her life and it was terrible. And then she listened to The Secret and it changed her life. And it took like 3 years for her life to really change, but she changed her life. And I was like, you know what? I could listen to The Secret. I'm not in my favorite place in my life right now. I'm feeling kind of burnt out. Like, I could listen to The Secret again. I've read it before. I've read like all of Rhonda Barnes' books actually. And I was like, I could download that. I have some Audible credits. Like, I could just put that on Audible and I could give it a listen. And Claudia was saying that she had more stuff on her TikTok. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to download TikTok and I'm just going to go watch her stuff on TikTok and I like wanted to watch it while I was walking on my treadmill. So I was like, you know what? I can go do that. That sounds fun. I'm going to go get on my treadmill and I'm just going to flip through all of her content. And that was why I had TikTok on my phone, was because I downloaded it just to watch her, because I didn't used to keep it on my phone. And then, I don't know, I started watching like other creators and getting really inspired. And then, like I said, one random day, I was just like, I want to see what can happen. I just want to put myself out there. I just want to see what can happen. And tried it, immediately had a viral post. Like, that is the beauty of just following your intuition, just letting your intuition drive the car and letting your creativity lead first. Just saying what you need to say, doing what you need to do, and like not overthinking it. Like, a past version of me would always be like, oh, I need to watch other people. I need to go see what other astrologers are saying. I need to go see what their format is. I need to go ask ChatGPT for a bunch of different hooks and I need to try those. And I would just constantly negate my own creativity. And even now, sometimes those thoughts still come up and I go, no, I'm going to force myself to create something from my own mind right now. Like, like just from my own philosophy, from my own mind. I'm not going to create something from listening to somebody else tell me how to do it. And that's always been my approach in business, except the times that I have followed myself, like rebranding to coffee, I listened to myself. And actually, when I rebranded to Chloe Taylor in 2019, the reason I did that was because it was a callback to coffee, because coffee, my branding was spelled Kofee. And I thought, Chloe, that's not how I spell my name on my driver's license, is not spelled like that. Like, it is spelled differently. And I was like, you know what? What if I made it Kloee as a callback to coffee, as a callback to trusting my intuition and moving forward with that? And anyways, I just feel like doing stuff intuitively it's just the goat. It's just the way to go. Anyways, that said, I feel like just letting myself be led like that has completely transformed how I have been showing up online. So I need y'all to just excuse me for the next little while if I'm not making a lot of long form content. Like, I'm a little burnt out. I have kept up this formula for so many years, like literally 15 years of my life. I have been making long form content and I have not allowed myself to pivot. And I think for the first time, I just want to try it differently. Now, will I still be making the podcast? Yes. I'm not going to guarantee you that it's going to be here every single week, but I will still be doing it. I do love to podcast. I love to sit down. I love to do this. And actually, I'm not going to say too much more, but there's potentially another podcast in the works right now. Like, I'm currently talking to another person about co-hosting something else. This one would still stand because, like, I'm never going to get rid of me. Hello. But there is potential that I'm going to be producing another series. So, like, I know I've talked about that for multiple years in different ways. This one would be even different. Sorry, I think there's people like moving in my neighborhood and I hear like loud ass car sounds, but it's fine. Um Anyways, that's what I'm saying. Like, what was I saying? Anyways, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going anywhere. Like, but I need some grace right now. I need some grace right now while I navigate this new territory and I kind of decide what I'm doing, because right now I am just letting my intuition take the lead. Truly, 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 I am letting my intuition lead on this one. And I'm just trying something different. Like, I have told my spiritual team, hey, this is what I want for my life. This is what I want. This is the vision that I see. I need you to lead me to getting that. I need you to lead me in that direction. And this was like the first beginning stages of that. So I don't really know what I'm going to do next. I know that for YouTube, I will still do the content that is sponsored because, hello, we're never not going to take that paycheck. God forbid a girl try to make money on her content. The Patreon will still receive content because, hello, God forbid a girl not be making her money. And also, like, Patreon is my, like, cute little, like, we're our own little devout community. So Patreon is always going to get her flowers. The podcast, if I don't have anything to say, I'm not recording it. Like, and I think that's powerful. Like, you shouldn't want to listen to episodes from me where I don't have anything to say. Like, those are, like, I don't want to make filler episodes. Also, it's just hot in Washington right now. Like, right now I'm sitting in my office and I'm sweating. Like, I need to wrap this up and I need to go into another room. It's too hot in here to be doing this. But I hope you enjoyed this style of video. I know it's a little bit different. Like I said, I'm still going to be putting a video out with it, but it's not going to be my face. So, I hope you'll enjoy. Anyways, and what else? Is there anything else I want to say or talk about? I don't think so. I think that's really it. So I hope y'all are enjoying your summer. I know y'all really want like the mermaid summer episode. I do still want to make it. We'll see what we can get up to with that. And also, like, I want to do like the rest of summer bucket list edition of the podcast. So hopefully, I know over this next week we have some days where it's going to get a little cooler out, so I could probably get in my office and do some setting up. But until then, I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about all of this. And I love and appreciate you so much. I hope wherever you are in your creative journey, this was inspiring. And if not, I hope you just learned something about me that you didn't previously know that maybe you think is interesting. I don't know. I just needed to scream into the void a little bit today. So thank you for letting me do that. And please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And if you have not heard it today, do not forget to follow your plan and not your mood. Bye.